Hey everyone, I hope you're having a nice day today. So it looks like the changes that I made for the stream to make the latency smaller are working. I was looking at a timer for the live stream on Twitch and how it changed over time versus how it's changing my computer. So the delay is about 3 seconds, which is very cool. So we have a delay of about 3 seconds. That means that I will see your message and reply to your messages in like 3 seconds. And that means that everything I'm doing also is delayed by 3 seconds, which is not too bad. So today we are going to try to fix our spamming bot. So yesterday we got raided. And so the bot that we have currently is just a it just says what I'm working on, right? So it says like yesterday it said finishing up our Twitch current parser written in Go. Today we're gonna do we're just gonna call it save fixing spamming. So that's kind of what we're gonna be doing today. So yeah, we're gonna fix the spamming bot because we ended up saying like the issue that's happening is like every time he joins and there's a bunch of people in the chat already, it would start spamming them. So it would just print that message over and over again. So the message that we were sending is just someone saying like it's pretty much saying what I'm working on, which is what I just showed. But yeah, so every time someone joins the chat, it just sends a message over and over again. So we're just gonna try to see if there's a way for us to like limit the amount of like messages he sends, and and then like if a lot of people join at the same time, it instead of sending like 100 messages, it just sends one message for the group of people that join. So that's kind of what we're going to be doing today. And yesterday we started moving our main file to start using our parser. So for context, we ended up writing a parser for the Twitch chat written in Go. So what we're doing now is that we're going through it and we're going to be making some changes to we're going to start integrating our parsing library into our chat bug that we have right now, and then we could start making some improvements. But the first thing I want to do is just fix it from start, so like stop it from spamming people. So the thing that I want to do, so JavaScript has this thing called debounce, which it's kind of what we want, right? So debounce itself is just a way it's a function that resets itself every time it gets called. So it's like a timer, and the timer gets reset every time. Yeah, so it's just saying a timer. And then when the timer, if the function gets called again, so if you for example, this is used for a button. So when a button gets pressed and you press the button again, it resets the old timer, and then yeah, so it resets the old timer and creates a new timer. Then it wastes the amount of seconds or milliseconds that you tell it to wait. And if the action happens again, it will reset it. It will reset the timer again. So the timer will just continue being reset until the event stops happening. So that's kind of what we want, right? So we want to wait for us to make a timer. It could be like a 10-second timer or 11-second timer. When someone joins, we create a timer. Then if someone else joins between those 11 seconds, the timer gets reset and we have to wait 11 more seconds. And that's kind of what would be very helpful to do here, I think, because it would let us just reset it. And when we reset it, that means that if a bunch of people join at the same time, the timer is just gonna keep getting reset every single time by 11 seconds. And that means that we only see one notification after things settle down. So we will be able to handle the first time that the bot itself joins the chat, as well as when a lot of people join the chat. For in the case of the raid yesterday, where 50 people ended up joining the chat and we ended up sending 50 messages. So that's kind of the thing that we want to avoid here. So I think we could use a timer. So we could use a go timer, and then I think the go timers have a stop function where you could stop. Let's see. So we want. So we want to use after func. So we're gonna create a function. So it returns a timer type. So we're gonna pass a time and a function to it. We get a timer function. So we get a timer, and since we have a timer, we could then let's see what events are attached to timer. So we could stop it. So we start a timer. So we create a timer. We save the value of the timer. Then we stop it. If someone joins, we stop it and create a new timer. I think that's what we did. The best way to do it, right? We start the timer runs over time, and then resets every time it stops, and we create a new one every time someone joins the chat if there is a old timer on it. And then when the timer triggers, we just need to make sure that it started. So I wonder if there's a way for us to know if a timer was started. We don't want it to panic. So it would be cool if we knew that if the timer was running or not, because if it's running, so let's see. Okay, so the way we could do it is that if the timer, so we call stop. So we will need to check if our timer is off, is null. If it's null, sorry, nil. If it's nil, then we create a new one. If it's not nil, we end up just checking, like stopping it anyways. And if it's stopped, we then, let's see. Yeah, we have to do this here too. So we call stop. Then when we call stop, if it's true, sorry, if it's false, we wait for our channel to be empty. Cool. And if it's expire, it's kind of too late to stop it because our function is running. If we're going to use after func, so if the function itself is going to be running, so that's something that we could figure out if we're going to have issues with. But the first thing we have to do is just create a new variable. Join notification, and I'm going to just create a timer, and it's going to be a pointer to timer. So time.timer. So we have a pointer, and then in here during the join process, we do we check if it's empty. So if join timer is equal to nil, we create a new one. So we do join equals time that after func. So here we have to decide how much to check. So we decided 11 seconds because the way that the client works for the chat, so the chat server batches all the messages in 10-second chunks. So if there is 100 people chatting in the chat, we will only get the first, like we will only get enough messages for those 10 seconds. So if there's a lot of events happening, we will only get 10 seconds of it. So we're gonna do time second, and then here we just want to pass a function that sends the message. Yeah, I can do that. Let's see. Let me change the font. That might be very easier. Is that better? Hey, how's it going? Let me know if the font that size is better. I could make it bigger if you need it. Cool, you're very welcome. And hey, welcome. So yeah, so we're gonna create a timer. And so what we're trying to do right now is the issue that we're facing is that when a lot of people join at the same time, we get with our bot account just sends a bunch of a bunch of messages saying like what I'm working on. What I want to do right now is figure out a way to create like a debounce function. So in JavaScript you could create a debounce function, which means that every time you that the function gets called, it resets the timer, and then it only triggers when the timer runs out. So what I'm trying to do right now is build something like time go. So the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to just create a timer. So I'm going to create a timer variable. Up here, I'm going to end up creating a timer variable. The timer variable has I create join notification timer, and in there it's going to be a type timer, which is a pointer. And what we're going to do here is that we're going to create a time that after func, which just means that after 11 seconds, it's going to call this function here. And here we could just put this information here. And this is only for tests. We don't need to do that for any other cases. So like for tests, we are parsing the username for it, but we don't need that. So for our tests, this is just our test. So we are passing the user ID, and then cool. And then we're gonna just continue here because we want to do something else if it's defined. So we continue, and if it's so at this point it should be defined, right? So we're getting the defined one. So what we want to do is two things. So we want to call stop, and then we're gonna call reset. So stop is gonna stop the timer if it hasn't triggered yet. Then we're gonna wait until the timer channel has cleared. So we don't need, it's gonna block a bit, which is fine because we're waiting for it to stop. And we want to make sure that the timer itself doesn't block. Then we're gonna reset it, and then for the reset, we just need to pass the number of seconds that we want to reset it for. So it will be 11 seconds again. So that's kind of what we're gonna do here, right? So our timer, we're gonna stop it. We're gonna call the stop method on it. And since we're gonna, because there is some weirdness of how the channel for the stopper for the timer works, you have to drain the channel. So here, there's like a note here. Reset should be invoked only on stop or expired timers with drain channel. So you have to drain the channel, and they're telling you to drain the channel. You have to listen there. You have to wait for the channel to drain. So like when the channel closes, you get a message. And here we're just gonna call reset. So now that we have stopped our channel, we could reset it, and we could set the timer back too. We could seconds. Okay, so we have reset it, and now since we have reset it, we are able to. Okay, so let's see what we're doing. So we are creating a function that gets called every. So it's gonna get called once. So after 11 seconds, it's gonna be called, and it's gonna print the message, so the welcome message. So we should only see this once. Then we are gonna just continue our for loop, which at this point, can I continue here? Yeah, I should be able to continue here. So we continue our for loop. We don't have to go down here because we don't have to reset it. Then when someone else joins, it's going to be set. So we are always going to go down here. And since we're already here, we are going to be able to, so we are here. We stop our channel. We drain it. Then since we drain it, we are now able to reset it. Let's see if this works. So we have reset it. And so the goal is to reset the bot every time to make sure that we are not we don't send the 100 messages that we were sending before. It's gonna take a bit for it to fire off because it joins, and then you have the 10-second window that you have to wait before you get any other message. So while it's doing that, I just want to make sure that we're not forgetting anything important. Okay, so the timer. Okay, so we are not seeing the message yet, so we have to wait. So it should have reset it twice. So there is these people are joining, so we have 2 joins. So that means that the timer got reset twice. Maybe we should print some printing logs in here too for the future. One thing I'm afraid of is that it might be blocking. Let's kill it. So every time we kill it and it joins again, we will get a message every 10 seconds. So it's gonna be a very slow process, but we got this. And then we will be close to. So I think the next thing we will have to add to our parser is a way to handle notifications. So notifications are for Twitch when someone subscribes. So we get notifications or when someone subscribes. Let's see. Commands. So we get notifications. We get user notifications when someone subscribes, when someone donates bits. And I think that's pretty much it. So you have to handle those. Yeah, so there's like a bunch of information that you get when someone like does different actions. Okay, so what is this? Would it be blocking here? One thing that happens is since you're using a lot of channels, when you have channels, it becomes very easy for them to block on each other. So it might just be blocking on itself, and that would suck. So yeah, so there is a bunch of different things. So I misspoke. We have to handle the tags. So we have to handle notifications. So we have to handle notifications themselves, and we need to handle user notifications. We need to handle that, and well, I guess we have to handle a lot. So user global state, we have to handle that, and we have to handle notifications, room state. Room state. What is room state? I don't think I'm gonna handle this one because we are not gonna do it. The body itself is not gonna be doing anything special within the room state. So then the next one will be badges. Sorry, the user state. So like the different badges someone's gonna have. So we're gonna add support to these two here and the global user state. That is taking a bit. Okay. So stopping the timer. Oh, I messed up. That's why it's not working. So in the sample here is you have to do if it's false, you do it. So if stop returns false, you do this work here. If it returns nothing, if it returns true, you don't do anything. So that's the issue that's happening, and that's why it's blocking. It's because the channel is already close. So start adding those as well here while we wait. So we're just gonna add it to our parsers. Our scanner already supports it. We just have to figure out how to parse it. So maybe the next thing we should do for parsing. Okay, there we go. Stopping, resetting. So it's stopping and resetting all of them. And then we should see one message being fired after 11 seconds. Yep, there we go. So instead of getting, let's see how many people joined. So one, two. So we had 9 people join, but we only got one message. So I feel comfortable turning this back on because now it's gonna be less spammy because the timer is being resetted. And since we are resetting it every time, we just have to make sure that even when it runs more than once, it has the right information inside of the function. So I'm just going back to my source code because I removed some lines and I want to add it back. And I make sure to commit these changes before I push them. So I just have to get it back. Just a par for sending the messages because I didn't save it. So this is what we want here. And let's just print something here. So we will see anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So that is there. Okay. And this is here. So this is the logic that is reading the file. So we have a file that is called currently working on. And inside of currently working on, it just says like what I'm doing right now, which I try to update on every stream. And in there, it just says fixing spamming bot. Shot. Let's just give it more information here. Okay. And then cool. So that should do it. So that means if we start it again, we should see it going off in a bit. So we're here. Okay, so this says that we want to support the commands we want to support now. So we have new message, capability, join, ping, names, or a list of people that are just joining. Then now what we need is we want to do global user state, so we want to use this one. And we want to also do the other one, room state. No, we're not going to do that one. We're going to do user state. So yeah, so it looks like it's working, right? So the goal here is like, yep, there we go, just one. So the way it works is that since we're resetting our timer, so we're stopping the timer and then resetting it. It just is and then reset it and then started it again. So we start the timer again, right? So we stop it, then we start it again. So it goes back to counting to 11 seconds again. So as long as like if at the same time 10 people join in less than 10 seconds, the timer, we're only going to get one message for those 10 people. So that will help with it. If there's a raid again, it will help a lot. So that's kind of what we're going for here. It looks like it worked correctly. So we just need to wait, see if someone else raises us again, and see if it goes off, and see if it causes a lot of noise or not. So I think our spamming bot is better now. And then the next thing we will do with it is add some commands. But first I want to add these states. Then we're going to go back to it and add some commands to it. Okay, so now that that's done, I want to move from here to... Okay, so I'm going to keep him running there. So let's just close this here. Then go to 4, exit 4. And then I'm going to rename this to... chat, and then I'm gonna just create a new window for us to work on. Oops. I have done that. So I have some. So my .dat files are linked to Git. So every time I open a new session, it tries to pull from the Git server. But I have some changes I haven't committed yet to it, because I just wanted to test it out for myself first before I push it up to GitHub, and then all my computers end up getting the same file. So I made some changes here for Mac only. So I just want to make sure that it works correctly here, and then I could push it into the Git repo, so all my other computers could get the changes too. But I will go on a rant later about these .dat files, because I've been working on them for the past 8 years, and I think they look great. They do some cool stuff, like they auto update across all the computers that I have. So here I'm just gonna split this into 2. Then we're gonna go back here. Oops. Yes. Oops. Gonna go to our parser. Okay. Then we're gonna go back to our all screen. Go. The tests are still passing. So we have the new states that we want. We have global state. We have the global state, the user. Wait, these ones should be right after each other. So let's do that. Let's open that file and then move this one and put it here. Okay, so we have so in Go, the way you kind of create enums is by using constant variables. So you have a constant value variable and you use iota. So you use iota and then you could use iota to be able to keep track of things, right? You could keep track of, so it starts at 0. So what I'm doing here is I'm increasing it by 1. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. And then if I reshuffle it, it doesn't affect anything else. It just works because of how it's a constant value, a variable. So it just continues working as I go. Okay, so we just want to add a bit of some test cases here. The test cases that we want to add is to be able to handle the new statuses, new commands that we added. So we added 2 new ones. So we need to add some test cases to them first. So we're adding some test cases first. And the input for, so we're gonna start with global state first. So for now, I'm just going to ignore, where is the user? Oh, this looks weird. Wait, do I have a global state here? 2. Global state. I do have a global state. Oh, okay. So this one's gonna be a bit interesting. Okay. So at this point, I guess we're gonna start parsing our tags. So, hey Copter, how's it going? We ended up fixing our bot to make it less spammy. Also, the latency on the stream is really good right now too. So I ended up making some changes on how OBS worked yesterday. So that's good too. So we're making improvements. I think so. Yeah, let's change the title. So let's fix the spamming bot. So we're over that, and we are now. Let's see. So. Cool, I think I got it. So this is a new title. I did already fix it, yeah. I was trying to not change it. So okay. I should probably also update this file here. And do something like wait, did it update? It did update. You just have to refresh. I always forget that you have to refresh. So the only downside of this is that it doesn't work. It doesn't. No, I think so. I think you get a ton of points. I think you get like 300 points. Let's see. I was check how many points you get per minute, because I think you get a ton of points per minute. No, so I don't control the rate of the points. I only control the prices. What I want to change here is I want to change. So right now we are only getting this our message once, and then we have to restart it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move it here, and then every time our function gets called, we are just gonna print yeah, so you get a ton of points the more you wash. And like, cool, I didn't know that was a thing. Okay, so I made a change to, so the thing that I just thought while I changed the title of the stream was also, even if I change what I'm working on, the bot itself doesn't change. It's always going to send the same message because we were only opening our file once, and then saving the output of that into memory. So whatever the message was in the current working on text file would never change. Like, would not change if I unless we restart the bot. So what we're doing now is that I changed it, that it will, every time that it runs, it will go and look at that file. Cool. So there is that. And we're adding a new command here. So this one is going to be a bit different because there's a lot of things we have to learn how to parse, right? We have to learn how to parse all the tags. We already have a way to parse it. We just need to figure out how to start building more on top of it. So let's see how far we could get here. And then we could also teach you how to parse pretty much all of this information, right? So do we have a channel? No, this is global, so we don't have a channel. So this is the input. This is the channel. This is the value. And then this is a command that we're going to be getting. So we're getting global state. So there is that. Cool. So we have that. See what happens. Oh, parsing error. So we have parsing error. Yeah. Here and here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Cool. So now if we run our tests, well, yeah, it doesn't know how to handle it. So the first thing we're going to teach our parser to handle is the tags. So if you look at this here, the way that Twitch calls it is just it just tags. So there's like a specs to handling tags. So you could add tags, and a tag always starts with the at sign, and then everything else before. So like everything else is just like the value of the tag. So we have here, we have, let's see, we have the name of the tag and then the value. So here, this is an empty tag, so there's no value attached to it. The semicolon indicates that that's the end of the tag. Yeah, pretty much. But the way that it works, I haven't seen how that one looks like. Yeah, so it's pretty much the same as here. But it's the way that you treat it. It's like, since it's after the semicolon here, it's just part of the message. So we will have to figure out how to parse these ones differently. It's more like this one's here. So you see how it says it has your information. So it has the founders badge that you have. Yeah. So it has the founders badge. Yep. So it has a founders badge that you have. Then it has a VIP badge. So it has different versions, right? So it has version 1 and version 2. And then it also has one for your, so since you donated bits, you have a leader badge, which is that it has a number in it, so the 1. And then it says a bit more information about the client, and then it says your display name. I think you have the default one. Then your name, and if you use any emotes, it's gonna show up here. Then any, like, the ID of the message, the room, if you're a subscriber, That should be 1, but I'm not sure why. I mean, it's because you have the founder's badge. And the founder's badge only shows when you're subscribed. And then like the timestamp of when it was sent, the user, ID, and then the message. Yeah. So the way it works is that you have to parse this and figure out, like, you have to, for the emotes, you have a set, and then you have the offset of where it's gonna find it. So we're gonna have to figure out, we're gonna have to link into the Twitch API to get some of these things showing up correctly. But the emotes themselves are just text. So I will have to you will have to parse, create like a list of all the emotes, and then send them through like a parser, and then if it finds like hyper reveal, then it just goes through it. But that's something that we want to handle like as we go. So the next thing, the thing that we have to figure out now is how to handle tags. So tags themselves will be here because they have no user name. So we're gonna create a new method that's gonna handle it for us. Parts tags. And the cool thing about this already is that we create our message structure that we created when we started working on this has a way for handling tags, right? So we're gonna be creating a map that has the key will be the first part of the tag, and then the value of that key will be the value of the tag itself. So I don't have something going. The one thing that we need to do before I even do this, and I forget, is that we need to initialize our map. So we need to use make as a string, type string, and the key. So the key is a string and the value is a string. And the reason we need to initialize it is because if you don't initialize it, you don't have allocated memory for it. And then if you try to add things to it, you're trying to add to a empty pointer. And then that's how so line 184 is how you initialize the value itself. So you're just initializing memory here. Yeah, so the spamming bot is not so spammy anymore. I should create like we should have like a blacklist of when people join, because I think this account here is it's like another bar account that is doing it. So we will figure out how to handle that. So we're putting it here. We might have to start splitting up this file too, because it might start getting big as we add more things to it. So message, and then we have parse tags. Any returns an error. There is no error, so cool. So what we need to do now is we need to do if message.current. We need to check if the command is still 0. So that means that we have hit there's nothing there. We don't have a command yet, which is true. We don't know what this command is going to be yet. So we just have to parse all of this information. Okay. So here we are here, and then we do if message.current token. So if the current token is equal to our scanner at symbol, so if it's equal to that, that means that we have hit we are now here. So we have reached this point here. And the next thing that we have to do is we kind of have to loop through it a bit more. So we're gonna start looping through the whole thing. So we're gonna loop. Where is this value being stored? Oh, I need to fix this here. So we might have to just start printing things out. So we need the first value. So the value, I believe that the first token is added as part of, let's see. Yeah, the first, the value here. I have to double check. I think I'm not sure how this is gonna look like. Let's just try printing this out and see what is the value of there. and value is just a string. So I want to make sure that I know what value is. I think it might be empty. And since it might be empty, we need to make sure that we don't ignore it. So we're gonna print something with a new. We're gonna print with a new line, and then here I'm just gonna do here to make sure that we don't miss it if it's empty. We need to go back to 4. Okay, so it's empty. So the value is not there. Okay, so let's take a look at our scanner. So for our scanner, let's see. Okay, so it's gonna scan the key, and we're gonna get a tag that has a. Okay, so if we just need to move over once, and the next thing that we're gonna get, the next token that we're gonna get is a tag token. So we are here. So we just need to call this function one more time. Okay, so we're here, and then next value. So now we have next value, right? Let's see what our next value is, and what our the next value. Then we have next token. What did I misspell? Okay, so we have the next token, and then we just run it again and see what we get. Okay, so we got batch info, and wait, where is our value? Weird. Oh wait, I call this scanner directly. I shouldn't call this scanner directly. I should use our new function here and call next. Yeah, I shouldn't call it directly because next does something uncool stuff. Okay, so the cool thing that we need to worry about now. Sure. I didn't know that you guys liked that so much. I thought that if we did it like every week or every 2 weeks, it would be too much. And I was like, oh, we can just do it every couple of months. Like every month we do like one Friday where we play a bunch of games. But if you guys want to do Fall Guys Friday night, I'm down for it. I've been working on so I ended up there's a bunch of cheaters too. It's very funny too. Because I was so Coctor and I were talking about the next thing I should work on is a way for letting so we are looking into letting people play Fall Guys through the chat. So let's say you start spamming like W and WDA in the chat, you could move the Fall Guys character. So that's one thing I was looking at last night, and I ended up landing on the account on the GitHub open source version of the hacks. Yeah, like the Pokemon game, or like there was someone that was playing like what was it? It was Breath of the Wild. So no, it's pretty much that. But so that's the initial thing. So the thing that you have to do when you're doing big projects is that you have to create milestones. So the first milestone is just like figuring out how to control the game. If we figure out how to control the game through code, that means that we could then start moving on to like letting it play by itself. But the first part will be fun to just create something that people could play with the game with. So that's kind of the thing I was looking at, and I ended up landing on the repo. I'm not sure if I could show it in the stream, but I will probably send it in Discord later, where you could find the cheat. The cheat is very cool too. It's using like all the way to do like it does like a DD. So in Windows you have DLL, and it does a DDL injection. So it injects its own code into the game. And then it takes control over some of the game's memory. So it's kind of cool, very but cool. But yeah, so one thing that I learned for myself is like if you go and do like the whole big project yourself, and like you don't set milestones over a period of time. Possible. That's also a possibility too. You could do like H key is like W is watermelon, A is apple. We need to find a fruit with D. So we could play the whole game could be played through it, or I could let people just take over my editor too. That's also an option too. It's like you guys could program for me. The possibilities are limitless here, limitless. I tell you. So we have the next value. So next we just have to call. First, also one thing I like doing is this is gonna be a for loop, but I'm not sure how well to handle this, so I'm just gonna roll it by hand a bit. So I'm gonna hand roll it. So that means that I'm just gonna type it out, and then I'm gonna just figure out how to write the for loop itself. So here we have the key. We don't have a value here. The next one is a equal sign. So what does the equal sign gives me? I get an equal. Okay. So here, do this next value, and then I'm gonna call it tag value. Here I'm gonna call it. Oh, I call it key. Yeah, but it'd be cool because we could use the client that we're writing right now. We could use it for this too, right? It's like we could reuse it for all these things. So we could reuse it, and it's gonna be fun. So now I notice that I don't need this here. I don't need to pass value to it because we don't need it since we're calling next message. Okay. So then we just have to print out. Here we print out value, and we also want to print out the next token. Oh, sorry, the current token. The next. Also, if we play next Friday, we should definitely play League. Like seriously, you guys disappointed me. Like we spent the whole time playing so much random games and we didn't play League. Something might be wrong with our parser. That is weird. Am I? Am I doing wrong? So, what is happening now? So I Oh no, that's right. That is very right. Okay, so the value for that is empty. So if I put something like a 1 there, it should show up now. That's what is happening. So this is 1. Now if I run it again, 1. Okay, yeah, it's just because the batch is empty, the batch info is empty, the badges are empty, the color is empty. The only thing that's not empty is the display name. So, okay, so what is the next tag we get? Next. Here. and then print this. Okay, semicolon. So if it's a semicolon, that means that we have reached our limit. Okay, so we could start building semicolon. So equal signs represents that we are now creating a key. So let's do here, and it will be null. So we can just automatically add an empty value to it. So okay. Here we are gonna do if current okay token equals tag equals scanner that tag. That means that we have the key of a tag, so we should. Okay, we also need to error just in case. Okay, so we have key, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna go here, we're gonna do message, and we're gonna do tags, and we are just gonna we're gonna use a key, but then we're just gonna add it as an empty string because we don't have the value yet, right? And then cool. Now we have the tags. We are now the next one that we get. What is the next token that we get? So the next token that we get is equal. So if you do if message that current equal scanner that equal, that means that we have now reached our value. So we are going to do error if error equals no, turn error. Sorry, if error is not equal to nil. And then here we need to save the current key. So current, so let's create a empty current key. The current key is set here and is set here. Current key equals key. So this is the current key that we're in. So we have value. So value is then gonna be message that tags. And since you have current key, we are gonna put it in the current key. Cool. And current key equals our value. So that will be 1. So I need to move this here because we need to call every single time. Call it here. And we're gonna move the error check here. So we're gonna once. We're gonna get rid of here, here. And what you're gonna name it is val. Okay, so what I'm doing now is that what I'm doing is just okay. So we are parsing all the information that the Twitch chat client sends to us. So when someone joins, it tells us the badges and the display name for that person. The issue that it uses a extension of the IRC specs by adding the information beforehand as the @ symbol represents it. So what we're doing now is just going through it and just writing pieces of the code that will start doing the parsing for us, right? So we now are able to parse. So we are able to parse. So we are able to parse when we get a new value. We add that to our. Sorry, when we get a key. So the key is represented by a tag. So we call it a tag. So if it's a tag, we're gonna add it to our map, which is just tags, which keeps track of all our tags. We're gonna create a empty string inside of that key in the map, and then we're gonna set the current key to that key that we just got. Then in the next for loop, when the next time that it triggers again, we're gonna find a equal sign, which represents So this equal sign here, which represents the value of the tag. So the value of the tag will be set here. The only thing that we have to do is how do we reset our current key? So we reset our current key in two cases. If there is a semicolon, so this represents a new key is going to be starting soon, or if there's an empty space. So we just have to check for those. So if the current tag, sorry, the current token is equal to our scanner semicolon. So if it's a semicolon, then we are gonna so here we're gonna do two things. We are gonna do, let's see, we're gonna just current key is set to, so there's no current key. And then and we need to check here if the current key is set. So if current key not equal to empty string, we then do this. That would be very helpful. So we're setting it here. We also want to set it when it's a new line. So if it's a new line, sorry, a space, we want to set it as empty as well. Scanner. So now we're going through it. We have so we have the scanner. We don't need this here. And now I want to just print out our tags. So this is pretty much where we're done. And we just want to make sure that the tags in cells. Oh wait, we need to break out too. So oh, it wouldn't work. So I think we have to create another statement, another if statement for the white space by cell. Because the thing that happens, white space also is our end condition. So if we're looping through it and we are in a white space, that means that we have reached the end of all the tags, and we just need to break out. So that is our end condition. Yeah, that's our end condition. We're ending here. And there. And there. So I just noticed someone started following us 43 minutes ago, and I didn't notice. Why did I not notice? It sent a message, and we did not get a message. That's weird. Huh. Wonder if I messed up my notification set. No, did not. That is extremely weird. I wonder if it's messed up. Okay, I know why. Cool. So that is better. Sorry if you're still around, really, Frank. I am sorry I didn't notice that you started following. Welcome. Thank you for the follow. Yeah, thank you. Also, if you're new to the channel, one thing I've been thinking about is at least running a 60-second ad break. So the thing that happens is, since I'm an affiliate, that means that people that first come to the channel will see an ad, like a 30-second ad. If I run a ad right now, that means that they will not see that for the next 20 minutes. So I just have to remind myself to do that like at least twice, because another thing I noticed is that it reduces the amount of people coming to the channel, because they will see the ad and then drop off. But if you're still around, thank you for watching, and I'm sorry that I'll run an ad in the next 10 minutes. Okay, so it ends. So it ends. We don't have to reset it because it ends. So now we can just run it again. Change here. I fixed that, save it, run it. Wait, where's the exclamation point? There's exclamation point. So I'm just gonna comment out this test for now. Just go back and make sure that we're I'm in this. I'm in the parser. Here, because it's not supposed to be expecting an exclamation or anything like that. Okay, so something might be up with our state manager. Or did I hardcore something? And 97. Oh, that is weird. Where is places? Oh, do I have a map? No, I don't have a map. Okay, so it's spelling in a weird way. But for now, oh, I know why. Because of this. Maybe just get rid of it. And just say that it's just. I wonder if it's gonna break things. Yeah, it's gonna break things. There. Nope. Let's go back up, and I have to. Oh, I know why it's happening. So for now, let's just keep it like this. Because we're so if you're new to Go, so you create type aliases by just doing type command and then equal sign and then assign a type to it. So what I'm saying here is that the command type here is equal to the token type, and that's why we're getting exclamation point for certain, but it's not correct. Oh, I know the issue too. After speaking it aloud, I figured out that the issue is that we are not setting the right command here. And also we're not in a for loop. So that's the first mistake here is that since I was starting to roll out the code myself, I didn't end up creating the for loop. So now we're in a for loop, which terminates with here. And now we also need to set the command. So the command itself will be set here. So command. And the command that we're looking for is double. And then I can run it. Cool. But why am I only getting one badge? Oh, it's equal to white space, not equal to white space. That's why we're only getting one. Because the next one we get is ampersand. Okay, so we got a ton of them. Let's just close this for now. We are getting the color, the badge, display, name, the emote set, the user ID, and the user type. And in this case, go back here. That's pretty much it. We are getting all of them. And then we just have to do the message. So here's the message. Here is the message where it's empty. So here's the bad thing of what is gonna happen. I wish I could have made a file for this, but this is gonna turn into this is gonna be because so I was thinking of turning these test cases into a file, but I ended up not doing that. So I didn't refactor. I'm waiting for Friday to be able to go and refactor it. Because on Fridays we go back and refactor some code. But what we're gonna have to do now is we are gonna have to update our type for testing. We're gonna have to update it and add a new field to it, which is not gonna be pretty. So we run tags, and inside of tags, we want to do tags, and then inside of tags, is a map, and is string, and it takes the keys are strings, and the value is a string. But now I have to go back, and everything that has a tag, I have to add it. So how do I inline create a map? Inline. Okay, so I think I need to do map string, then string, and in here I could just do map. Okay, so the map here is just empty. Now there's nothing in these maps because we're not expecting any tags here. That's empty. Empty. This is also empty. Also tags here. Empty. Empty. And then this one's the one that has information. Cool. And start building. But if I had made it into JSON files, I wouldn't have to do like create these structures myself, because it will automatically add default info. Like the compiler doesn't force me to declare empty structures. Okay, so we have key. That's a key, and we have an empty value. Then we have badges empty, and colors empty too. Empty. Color also empty. Then we have display name. Empty. Okay, that's a value, and then the emote sets, which is where the emotes are being used. Yeah, so after I figure out, so the first thing I want to do is just get the chat to start displaying, and then I will do the commands, like commands for everything, commands for like pointing to the YouTube channel, commands for Twitter, and like all the different things that we're gonna have. Command for Discord too. So and then figure out like some exciting commands that you go already unlock. But I'm going the hard, like this is the long roll. You're taking I took the very long roll of getting to where I wanted. I could have skipped some steps and like not have to build all of this myself, but it looked fun, so it's still fun, so I'm still going for it. So I'm enjoying having to write all of this, and then like if forcing me to figure out like how to structure my code better, because there is a lot of stuff that is going on. So hey SSE, how's it going? Hope you're having a nice day. Okay, so I believe you get a key, then you get the value. And then we want to arrange over our test tags. So we want to go each tag and make sure that the tags are there. So I just need to make sure that the keys are correct. So keys and cool. So we have keys and values. Okay. So what we need to do now is we need to create. So first we're gonna look at our got file. So this is what we're getting back, and we are also checking. Okay, we're gonna do message that tags, and we're gonna pass the key to it. So we have the key, and if we're not okay, that means that the key is missing. So we could be like, hey, the key is missing. So key that error, and we could be like, key is missing. And the key is just a key. Our key is missing, in case one of the keys is missing. Okay, so the next thing that we want to do is, so we're expanding our test suite a bit more. We are now adding a new field to our test table where we are now testing for tags. So we were not testing for tags before because we were not using them. Now that we start using it, I'm expanding the test function, the function that we're using for testing to check for tags in the test. So if we go back to here, we're passing, we have the tags here, right? We have these tags here, this area here, and then we're checking, we have a list of tags that we're expecting and the values for those tags. So what we're doing now is just making sure that we're getting those same values that we want and the same keys that we want. So here we just need to check the value. So we want to make sure that value equals that value. It's not equal, sorry. If it's not equal, we then throw an error saying this is not what we wanted. So we want we're gonna be do something like if error, so values did not match, want, and then got. So we do one, we have val is what we want, and then got. So that's pretty much what the test would do. The tests are is just comparing. First thing is comparing is the first thing is doing is just making sure that the key that we're looking for is inside of the message. And then the second thing that it's doing is checking for if the value of that key matches. Okay, so that is pretty much it for that. So we are now supporting tags. Wait, what is? Oh, I didn't save it. Okay, so our test is passing now. So that means that we're checking for tags and making sure that the tags that we're getting back are the ones that we want. And so now we support global state. The add is global. Wait, did that global state? Shouldn't have added global state because it's only handling tags. So this is a mistake here. We shouldn't do that. So our test should be broken now because we're only supposed to handle tags. We're not supposed to label because there is a lot of commands that have tags in cells. So you have the global state. So we now handle tags for global. So pretty much any command that uses tags. So like this one here, this one here, this one like this, and so this too. All of these different commands, it should just work, right? See how our friendly spammer is doing. Doing well. It's doing well. That is weird. Okay. So let's just keep going and add the one that is missing. We are missing one, which is, so this is parsing tags. Yeah, this is tags. We have tags. parsing join, and then we got a new one for parsing status. Sorry, the global one. So for the global one, we are value. We don't have a value, so we shouldn't expect anything from it. We just need to make sure that we parse it correctly by just giving it its own class. I mean, its own function. So this one is just called global. Global users. And this one is straightforward. Most likely I'm just gonna make this into a function that we just call and pass a tag to it. So let's see. We don't want to do it next. So func message that message to and parse and it's just gonna take a token. So that's a token, and okay, so we have a token and type command. No, it's a scanner token, and so this is gonna be something simple for us to be able to just create a message and just give it like a simple tag. So like this one will probably be for something like ping. See what we did with ping. Okay, so ping. No, because ping comes after, so we cannot really do anything with ping. So I'm gonna take a break. I'm gonna run an ad, and I'm gonna take like a 3-minute break. I'll be right back. Cool. So, okay, let's get back to it. So we're creating a simple function that takes a token, and then we check what the current token is. So we token equal message that current token. We just need to make sure that current token matches that token. And we're gonna return nil. Oh yeah, we're gonna return nil error. So we're not gonna return any errors. So okay, so here we're just gonna do if it's equals, then message that command equals token. So there is nothing much to do here, right? This is just a straight up simple thing where if we pass a command that doesn't have any values and we just need to parse it, this is how we're gonna parse it. And that means that now we have a way to parse multiple commands that do that. So like, for example, we might do that for the state too. So I don't think it has many values too. So here we're gonna do scanner that global state, and then we are just font. Doing it. But print the output out so that we have the right message out here. And okay, so that one. Oh, I know. It's because. Oh, yeah. I should just fix this. Let's just make this into int. So we're gonna make it into int, and we are gonna create a map that is gonna var string, and it's gonna be a map, and it's a key, and then we have a and I'm just gonna use this print and then I'm just gonna do the same uppercase here. It's we just want to see the command itself, so the translation is just here. This is pretty much the translation. It's gonna be like a one-to-one translation, so we don't have to do any mapping. Join. So what we're doing right now is we need to create a table, a map that converts our constant variables into strings, so we could print them out in a helpful way, and we could see it ourselves better. Print it. So we're gonna create the mapping, and then after we get the there is a issue that's happening that I'm not sure why it's happening, so we go and figure out why that is happening. And next thing we have to do is since we now have we do the conversion, which we could get from our scanner. So our scanner is already doing it. Just copy it from there. Yeah, so our scanner is already. It's gonna take it here and move it here. Commercial the conversion. So every time you pass it to every time you pass any structure to print new line or anything like that, it calls it turns into a string by calling this function. So you could, if you declare your own string functions attached to a structure, that's how it's gonna be represented when it gets printed, or when it gets turned to a string. And string. We'll do the oh, we're getting rated. Hey Eric, that dev, thank you so much for the raid. As you could see, I ended up fixing the bug from yesterday. It's less spammy. So we are using. How's it going? Thank you so much for the raid. Welcome. So we're back at it. We're making the bot better. So we ended up changing some stuff to make it less spammy. And the way I achieved that was by using timer. So in Go, so the Go itself has a set of timers functions that you could use. So I ended up just creating timers. So I just ended up creating a timer that gives you a way for us to so we're using afterfunc, and that returns a timer. And with the timer, since you have a timer, you could stop it and start it, and that's kind of how we're keeping the spamming away. So up to you could see, so it's failing because some messages are not handling correctly, but yeah, so the timer is being reset. And since the timer is being reset, that means that we don't get 100 messages from the bot. Hey, welcome. Thank you for the new follower, KLE Bear Cole and Sang Ashar. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Sorry about that. Welcome, new followers. Thank you so much for the follow. Thank you for joining. But yeah, so we're still working on the on creating just parsing. There's still some weird parsing things that we need to figure out, but yeah, we're still working on the parsing. So welcome so much. Yeah, the cat showed up. Thank you so much, Kilroll, for the follow. And thank you, Eric Dev, for the raid. If you guys should go follow Eric. He's learning how to write. Rust, which is very cool. So here is his link. His channel. You guys should go write it. You guys should go and look at his channel. No, so I'm not doing JWT. I am building a chat. So I'm pretty much just creating a parser to parse the Twitch messages that we're getting. So there is with a lot of people join, so it's like commands, right? So when there is a command from the Twitch server, we take it and we parse it into different stages, right? One thing that we are adding is a way for us to handle like this is how the messages from the Twitch client looks like. The Twitch server is sending these messages, and we're just parsing these messages. For example, something in our parser is not handling this message. I need to look at it in a bit, but that's kind of how we're handling it, right? It's like when someone joins, so when someone joins, the Twitch server sends you a message. When they depart, it sends you a message. And then we could do cool things like I am really bad at giving summaries of what I'm working on, so this is kind of what we're doing. We have a bot that does that for me. It's the only command that it knows for now. Well, it's the only thing that it does for now. So that's kind of all the things that we're working on. And we're writing some code as well. So what I'm doing right now is just managing the state. So I'm working on adding the parsing stages, right? So the thing I was working on was how to convert our tests. So one thing I'm doing is I'm creating enums in Go. It's a bit different than other languages. So the way you create enums in Go is by first you create a type alias. So I'm saying that command is just an int, and then you use iota here, which just means like anything starting here and going down will be like a counter, so it increases it by 1. So it starts at 0. What I'm doing here is that I don't want it to start at 0, I want it to start at 1, so I'm just increasing it by 1. And then the next value here will be 2, which you could see at the bottom here. So it kind of does all the different it creates it assigns the values for you automatically. So it just keeps going down. Same thing here. And the next thing I wanted to do was like I want to turn it back into string, right? So we have the integer it represents it in integers. We want it back as a string, so we are just turning that back to a string by using a map. So every time we get the integer, we look at the map here, and then we just turn it back to a string. So that's kind of what we did today so far. It's just like going back to the command, like representing the different data structure. But now the one that I'm looking to support is a new command that we added to our test. So we added a new command for the global state. So when someone, the first time that you join a channel chat, there is a command, event. No, it's a command. Yeah, it's a command that you get. It's called global user state, which just tells you more about the user that tells you a bit more about yourself, right? So it tells you like the badges that you have globally, the display name, emote set, so like all the emotes that the user has. Because if you go to the emotes menu in the chat, you could see like a lot of people have a lot of emotes there. So like you have all the emotes for the different channels that you follow and that you're subscribed to, it will show up there. So that's kind of the way that they represent it. So this is pretty much how they here. So this is the emote set for it. What we're doing now is that we need to figure out a way to parse. We want to make sure that the command that we're parsing is correct, which was failing before. Just have to rerun this. And then, yeah, so that's kind of how I read it. So if you're Go routines themselves, the way that you would do them, the reason you use Go routine is when you're doing things in parallel, right? So if you're doing things in parallel and they're going to be blocking each other, you should do Go routines, because the Go scheduler would then will handle it. So if there's an IO operation, so IO is like reading from the disk or making an ACP request, where you send a message and you have to wait for that message. In between, the Go scheduler will put your Go routine to sleep for a bit, and when it gets a response, it will wake it up. So it's mostly when you want to do things in parallel. So let's say that you want to handle making 100 requests to 100 different services, you could do it all in parallel. The thing with, so the way I would put it for myself, the way I use Go routines is I will first write a call in not using Go routines. I will just do it all synchronously, and then I will see how it performs, and then I will add Go routines to it as I go. Because the issue that happens with Go routines is that you have to figure out how you handle like share memory. So let's say you want to update a value that all the Go routines are going to be sharing. You have to figure out how to handle it, right? So you could use then you have to use mutex, or you have to use channels, or you have to use mutex in channels. So that's kind of the things that you have to figure out. But it increases the complexity of your program a bit more. So I try to avoid it as much as I can. Even though Go gives you like really nice tools to handle it, the first version of things that I write on are just like just synchronous. There's no Go routines. It just, even if it takes like 5 minutes, I would just write it that it will take 5 minutes, and then start building the concurrency by adding Go routines as I go. That would be the thing that I would think about more. But Go routines is mostly you want to use them when you are when you're doing multiple things at the same time, and it would be nice to do them in parallel. So like you're opening multiple files, so you get a list of directories, and you want to collect information about those files in those directories. you could create Go routines for each directory, for example. And that means that you could if they're in different hard drives, you wouldn't have to think about IO. Like in yeah, so that's kind of the way I would think about it. So since I ended up changing the type here. Oh wait, but yeah, Go routines make things a bit more complicated. Not so much like other languages, because I know like when I tried to do things in parallel in Python, I had to use like async IO or something like that. But in Go, it's just out of the you get it out of the gate. Let's see. Scanner. Oh, it doesn't let me override it, so I do have to change it. Okay. Okay, so I'm changing it. I might have to have another one that. Can I convert it back into an integer? It's just an integer. Oh, but there are different integers. So now so the issue that I ended up having is that at the beginning I had it like this, right? I had it in a way that I was able to set the scanner commands. Oh, maybe start at 0. No. So the thing that's happening right now, the issue that I'm having is that I created an alias. So I'm saying that command here is an alias of the token structure, which looks something like this. And then the token structure, the token type has all of these content values are all part of it. Hey, welcome, thank you for the follow, Cesar888. Yeah, so the way it works is like I have this constant I created all these constant values, and they also are using iota. But the issue that is happening is that I need to take a subset of that. And since I'm taking a subset of it, I need to figure out how to move it on to make it part of the parser here. So another thing I could do is like this might be weird. So this will be very weird, but we have int here, and this works. I will not do this. I just want to see if it works. Okay, so this one now. But yeah, I'm debating if I want to. I might just end up moving. You know what? That might be the best thing. I might end up just moving these tokens, so this whole thing, into its own package. And then I could just reuse it even better, right? It will help me a lot. It will be way better for me to just reuse it, because at that point I could just use the tokens. So let's do that. So right now I feel like I'm just fighting the typing. Okay, so I'm just gonna create a new file, a new package, which is gonna live next to our client, and I'm just gonna call it command. Start talking. And then in here we're gonna create a new file that is just gonna our talk. So back to our scanner. And our scanner is gonna take the and in here I'm gonna take just this chunk. So we're gonna end up moving this whole chunk its own package. Then it's gonna be easier for so that means now that the tokens are all gone, complain that it doesn't know tokens, so I do not like the fact. I have to change it back. Again. And here, we got a package. That one, and we just got. We need to go back scanner and then update scanner, and we have to update any place that we are using tokens. We will have to update it. But we have tests, so the tests themselves are going to make it easier for us to find the places that are broken. Yeah, so we just have to go through all the files and just like updating it. That's not. Well, let's just keep going here afterward. You could, yeah, it's more like for performance. So like, it's just for speed. So since you want to use, it depends on how you want to do it, right? You could use more if you want to use more if you want to use all your CPUs. So let's say you have all the cores in your machine, you probably want to do it that way. If you want to use, if you don't mind just using a tree, you could use a file tree. Or it's more like if you wanted to open the files themselves, right? If you need to read the files themselves, then it might be easier. But it's mostly on like the performance itself. It's like if you're doing something that is going to be IO heavy, then you should probably use a. And like you could think about it also from the ACP server side of things, right? So if you use the ACP server from Go, it opens a Go routine per request. So each request itself is a Go routine. So I ended up recreating all the content values, so I just have to which there is a. So this file here is what we use for tokenizing. So this is the scanner itself. So it goes character by character. So for every, it goes, say you have a message like this, it will check each character, and then based on the character itself, it's going to decide if it should tokenize it or not. In our case, this is how we're doing it. And then the tokens themselves are then used by the scanner, by the parser to start building them. What I'm doing now is just refactoring, because I was trying to do something that didn't feel right, and just ended up moving it to his own package. Scanner. I'm gonna run the test on the scanner. We have tests which. Okay, so the next one. Oh, I missed one. Yeah, so this one feels better to like moving into his own package, because it's reuse it in places and not have a circular dependency scanner, the parser, and everything. So now so the end goal for me here, the reason why I'm doing this, first, like, I'm kind of enjoying this, and the second part is I want to show our chat as part of the stream, and I'm going the really long way of like building everything myself. So first, I need to figure out how to connect to the Twitch server, which we already have. Is this doing here? Is connected to the Twitch server, and the next thing that we have to figure out is how to parse the messages after we get them, which is what we're doing now. So we're parsing the messages, and then after we're done parsing the messages, we start doing some JavaScript and CSS, HTML to start showing the chat messages that's an overlay string. So every time you see a message come in, so anytime you see this here, we are going to take it and make it. And since we have tests for this, I'm okay doing like big refactoring like this. Well, even if we didn't have tests in Go, since it's a compiled language, when you change things, a lot of things like I did, which I move a bunch of variables to a different file, I won't get like undefined during time. The compiler will just not build at all, and that's one of the nicest things about it. So like even my test right now wouldn't, some of the variables and some of the types are missing, and I just have to point to new place that there are in the new package. So yeah, this is a lot of work, but I just felt like I had to do factor, like move it to its own package, because it was starting to get to me. Like I was trying to do some things and just I was getting the wrong information, like the wrong names of the commands I was running, because the numbers didn't match. So the parser has to set of the commands in the parser were in different order than the commands inside of the scanner. So it's just better if I just them over its own package, because two things are depending on it at that point, and we don't want it, like if we start, I don't want it, the scanner, you could think about it as an internal, so I don't want it reveal the scanner to like to other users of the library. So the scanner itself is only meant to be by the internal package and nothing else. And that's one of the things I will try to do, is I will probably move the scanner into an internal directory. So if you have an internal directory in Go, it just means that any package like above it, but nothing else. So like if someone imports it or anything like that, you won't be using it. That's kind of one of it. So if you have like internal libraries that you want to use internally in your project, you could then just, and you don't want anyone else to use it because you change them all the time. That's kind of the way you will create an internal directory, and then inside of the internal directory your packages. That one. Last one are welcome and tags. So we're done scanner. This one has a tool to do that or refactoring. Like if I have moved it with a tool, it have find it. Like would it have changed the type string? Do not. I don't think it's a tool, but it'd be cool if there was. Running the test ones telling too, but the test ones are not bad. So okay, welcome messages. These are the messages that, so what the different files that we have seen is the different kind of messages that we get from the Twitch client, and it's just implementing the IRC standards with a bit of their own changes to it. Like they support tags and they support commands that the client IRC client wouldn't support. So there's some custom things that we have to do, but they are not too bad because some of them have other specs too. It's like extension of stuff. So for example, like the welcome messages that I'm changing, the file that I'm changing now is part of the standard specs. And we need, I want to make sure it's import the wrong there, because Go also has some of these tags. So the language server that I'm using for them, I import the wrong. It's because it's probably confused. Oh, okay. So here's the thing that's happening. I am shadowing by declaring this top value here. I'm creating a shadow. I'm shadowing, so hiding the package itself. So I just have to read. That's what is happening, and that's why it's like saying like, oh, I don't know what the thing that you're giving me. No, I can name it either, and I'm also overriding the test framework. So let's see. Yeah, so I ended up overriding like a value on top. And oh wait, this. Hey, we have a new follower, 02 Hero Dev. Thank you for the follow. Okay, so yeah, this one's wrong. So I ended up doing refactoring in I should have waited until Friday because it's kind of where we're gonna go and do any kind of big refactoring stream. but I couldn't hold off. It was the whole like the way that the token package, like how I was importing the packages. So that was driving me really not. Okay, so our tests are passing, so good. We're moving on. On to doing our parser. Have to fix it here. This will be hard. Okay, so we don't need this anymore. Getting rid of this. Okay, so of that we are gonna use and this doesn't counter anymore. Here and here. Not coming from. And then same thing here. Just have to find every place that banner. I could have created an alias too. No, wait, they're constant values. If this was a type, I could have created an alias. If I have created an alias, then it will have let me do the like I wouldn't have to do all these changes. But it's not a type. It's just constant value. I need to do it. It would have been nice if there were aliases. Because in Go you could create an alias of a type. So if you move it from one place to another one, so let's say that you have one type, right, which is the same one, but you want to move it somewhere else, you could just create a file that just creates an alias for that. And you see in some of the Go libraries themselves internally, where they're just creating an alias so they don't, for backwards compatibility, so they don't break the, all libraries. Because one of the cool things about Go, one thing that they drive for is that they try to reduce the breaking changes, right? So a program that was built in Go 1.10 run in Go 1.8 for example. So one thing that they're also trying to do is like next version of Go. So it's not really called Go 2. It just they are calling it Go 2 for in the community, which is going to include generics. But the thing that's doing is they are saying that it's not going to break anything. So if you wrote a program in Go 1, you should be able to run it in Go 2, which is they're trying to do. And maybe that's something that generics did when the generics land on master branch. Maybe that's something that we can play with, just figure out how to use it. So that means we will have to build Go ourselves, but we can kind of build it and run it. Right now, there's a branch that has generic side of it, but it doesn't support module. So it's kind of not worth trying it out now, just because if we want to use any packages or want to use module, it might break that for us. We're almost. Again, I wouldn't do this if I was doing like something like JavaScript or Python if I didn't have typing, because it would be so hard for me to find all the places are banned. And if I didn't have tests for itself, that would be me, right? So I'm glad that I'm doing using a compiler language, so I'm able to figure out like this different like I could change the types like this, and it will fail, it wouldn't build. But the other thing is like I have tests for it, so even if the changes were not called by the compiler, I could just find it by running the tests and figure out like what worked and what doesn't work. that channel's kind of getting started. Okay, so we got super back how we were doing before I started doing a massive refactoring. Let's just make sure that it works. Nope, still some. No. Oh, I'm doing that thing again. I am doing. That is why. I'm shadowing. I'm overriding our token package with. Okay. And changing. You posted that in our chat, so you know, the copter. Thank you, thank you. I also have to change this package because now the tokens are coming from the scanner. Sorry, from the token package, not from the. So this is what I wanted to do, right? This logic here is to handle is parsing the messages that are coming from the server directly. And I didn't want to if we teach this package here about the scanner, it will be too much, right? It will be it will be unnecessary for this package, scanner. You only need to know about the tokens themselves and the parser. That's kind of the dilemma that I was having. So let's see if that did it. Yes, our tests are failing. Inside. Oh, it's because we're. I see. I remember why it's fun. Cool. We have a follower following Dainty Benny. Hope I pronounced that correctly. Token. Now we have to replace everything. Yeah, and our notifications say, hey, thank you for the follow. Okay, so they're working. Tests are passing. That means that we're passing the right information. But so I'm gonna take like a 2-minute break. I'll be right back. Okay, back. Okay, so our tests are passing, so that means our um changing all the all the refactoring we just did didn't break things, and also our new test is also passing for that. So that means that we now have a way to get a global state of users. Cool, so that's very cool. So now we have the global state of new users, so we could start building more things for our chatbot, and we start it now as well. Here, running doing. Okay, so I saw that I was doing some weird things when it came to like notifications and like that. So I just have to figure out like what is going on there. So like we were getting, so when someone was sending a message, it just said invalid token, and I'm not sure why that was happening. So I'm just gonna take some of these messages and add them as test cases for our account to see if there's anything like what was going on. So I'm wondering if we forgot to handle some cases or something like that. But yeah, so if we look at when we were getting those messages, it just returning invalid token for something, and we just have to figure out why is it invalid token. Maybe this account, maybe the message itself has something that we didn't take into consideration. This is another thing that I want to refactor, but for now I'm just like letting it be because I don't want to spend a long time fixing it. So I want to make this into their own files. So these are all the test cases that we have. So we are following something called table-driven development, which is something that the Go community likes doing a lot because it makes it easier for us to it just makes it easier for you to have one function, and that function you just have a list of yeah, I'm not sure why this is saying so you have one function that runs multiple test cases, and then you're just checking the input and the output of those test cases. So for some reason this message here is failing, and we're not sure why it's failing, so we could look into why it's failing. Let's see. Invalid token. Now the token also has a value, a text, so we could check what keys, what character is causing the error. Again, so the goal is to make sure that our new debug itself is doing all the work. Basically, use our new package. But since it was returning errors, it did some weird stuff. So we just need to make sure that it just doesn't do it. Like it should be able to handle this in that before we stop. Okay, so we added new method there. Okay, so invalid. Oh, but it's not invalid. It's doing what we wanted. So why is it complaining that it's invalid? So it might be something to do with our own logic. So it might be something to do with the parser itself. That will definitely do it. So let's that test works. So I'm just gonna copy it. So I'm gonna copy that and then add it as the output of the test. So the way I'm been writing the test is just like, yeah, if the output looks correctly. So this is how the tokenizer itself works, right? The tokenizer is just taking every what we pass to it, so what we're passing to it, and then converting it into a tokens themselves, where we could do whatever we want with those tokens. So for example, like the add symbol just turns into add, and we could just, because of how the token itself is set, right? So what I did now is I just updated what we're expecting, and the test should pass. Yeah, so the issue is not here, it's not with the scanner. The scanner is behaving correctly. the issue is somewhere else with our, yeah, so the issue itself is somewhere else, so we just have to find where that somewhere else is. I just need to find the message again. Okay. So I'm gonna go to our scanner. Sorry, out to our parser and just put the same test there and see what it does. Our scanner is our parser is a bit more like the structure is a bit more complicated than the scanner. The scanner's job is to create the tokens. The parser itself, the job is to take the tokens that the scanner is giving it and turn it back into something, into a structure that we can use across our code. Private message, and then we're just gonna create an empty map because we don't want to check. We don't want to check the tags yet. So. The token. Oh wait, I put it in the wrong place. That is cool. Yeah. And then we just run the test again. Figure out what is breaking. Okay, so no, it shouldn't be breaking. Why is it breaking? So we have a message. We have all the information on. So I'm not sure why is it breaking. So okay, so the our parser is behaving correctly, so the issue is not a parser. Yeah, so the parser itself is not the issue. The parser is doing what we want. The issue might be somewhere else, so we just have to continue up the stack. So we have the channel name is Miguel TV. The message is JWT question mark, JWT question mark, and then the name of the user. Okay, so now that we have that and we have updated what we're expecting, this is pass, unless I miss it. Yeah, cool. So that's not the issue. Now we just need to figure out like why it was returning invalid token. So I did not make that message for either. So okay, invalid token. Invalid token. Trying to make this test a lot helpful. So we're just gonna start parsing our errors. So if you don't handle errors correctly, like give them the right message, you will probably like struggle find like I don't know where this error is coming from. So it's coming from this. So the scanner is triggering it, but it should have more context, right? It should have like this is why this is failing, or this is the input that we got, and this is why it's failing. So we just have to go back and like make sure that that's what we're doing, because when the error starts happening again, we could figure it out. So I just have to go back and fix some of the errors. So fail to parse message, error coming, valid. There. Yeah, if we get an invalid token, we do that. Wait, where is it? That one? wonder if it's something that I did that was printed out. Let's see. Stock again. I need to look into why it's getting stuck. So I'm gonna just send a message to see what it. Let's wait a few seconds. It takes 10 seconds for the way that the Twitch chat API, server works is that it batches messages every 10 seconds. So when you first join, you don't get any messages, and then afterwards you get the messages. So this is what it's doing right now. So I'm starting to join. Cool. That's it. There's a message in that. Okay, so it looks like it was something weird that I was doing with it before, because like it's not happening now. I wonder what it was, but the account is working correctly, so we're getting the correct information about it. And we're getting the correct batches. And cool. So the next one that we have to add to just finish it is just the user state. Oh, sorry, we have to do two more. Sorry, we have user state and user notifications, but I probably would do this offline. So this, I'm gonna end the stream, but first let's find someone to raid. I think I still working on some people. I hope they're still streaming. So we can just do Anthony again. He was doing some cool stuff last time we stopped by. He was doing some AWS. He was working on one of his packages for AWS. But he's working right now. He's working on his he's working on he has a pre-commit hooks that he was working on, and I thought it was very cool. So I hope you guys enjoy. Say hi for me. But yeah, he was working on some cool stuff. Thank you so much for watching. I will be on tomorrow. Yeah, I will be doing building this more tomorrow, but I will make some changes to we might start building the UI tomorrow, so we might do some JavaScript for a change of pace. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you later.